right. Trying something a little different today. Turn my mic on. Yeah, mic is on. Yeah. It's not looking how I want it to. I'm gonna try something different, try to handle some of these problems we've been having. See Facebook. I think I have to press some buttons to get it just slightly different way. Boom, 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 and boom, 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 boom. So looks like that's what I'm supposed to do like that. I press that button. I think that will work. Boom, 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 boom. Try to handle some of the issues today. Handle the issues with not being able to stop any interruptions, working on things. Try to streamline my approach. Gotta get better. Gotta get better at being better. I try to change all the time. I was up late last night. Oh, goodness gracious. I was up late last night working on this, trying to get this to work. It looks like it might work. I see people coming in. Always try to get better. Never accept who you are today. And by the way, let me clarify. I'm not a guru. I'm not a savant type person. I don't tell nobody how to live. I'm not a teacher. I'm not any of that stuff. People say funny things to me. I laugh at it. Hey, good morning, Tina. Thank you for sharing. Hey, good morning, Brother Mark. Thank you for sharing. I see people sharing already. That makes me feel good. That's how you pay me. Y'all want to pay me? Like, I want to send you some money. No, don't send me money. Believe it or not, somebody sent me some things I didn't want. But anyway, don't send me pictures. I don't want to. Keep your nasty pictures to yourself. Hey, Maha, thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Lori. I see people sharing already in the room. That's how you pay me. That's how I know that I'm saying something that's worth a damn. If it's worth it to look crazy in front of your friends with us, then it's good. Hey, Lee, good morning, brother Lee. Thank you for sharing. All right, y'all, don't watch it. Late, you mean last night? Don't watch that. I didn't mean to do that. I was laying in the bed, and I don't even know what we even talked about. I was so tired. What did we even talk about? I remember Walter was there, and who else was there? A whole bunch of people. Kevin was there, and YouTube came in the house, and people. I was trying to figure out how to stop the interruptions and have a smoother stream. And I think I might have figured it out. It looks really weird. I don't see any comments appearing where I want to see them yet, but I think this might work. Tell me if you can hear me good. Tell me if the stream is kind of smooth. Oh, he was laying in bed. Yeah, I was laying in bed. I was tired. Oh man. I'm glad the Christmas season's over. Hey, Mary, thank you for sharing. I don't know if I can see everybody sharing. No, Lori, it will be none of those. We don't do that here. And don't nobody send me none. I don't need to see none of that. Don't send me no pictures. I'm scared to open my inbox sometimes. Like, I'm not even gonna look at it. Sometimes people will send me stuff. And you know, I'm not like avoiding, you know, my inbox. Well, okay, that's a lie. I do sometimes. Hang on, let me change my background music. I do, because sometimes I get stuff I don't want to see. Like, I appreciate that everybody. Can we come to an agreement? Let's agree that everybody got dinglings. Everybody has nipples. Everybody has vaginas. Everybody got something for the most part. Most everybody got them. I don't need to see. I don't need to see none of them. I'm good. I'm good. Listen, I didn't seen it all. I didn't raise kids. I don't need to see none of that. Not on adults and nobody else. It's one day I had one person. That's all I'm gonna see, and I'll be good with that. But maybe, I don't know. My mama thinks so. I don't know. Thank you for sharing, Anna and Rebecca. All right, we in trouble this morning. We got to talk about something this morning. Yeah, Mary, I think the technical difficulties were resolved. And it really what it was, though, it was just me bending. I have to bend to the rules. of what the Global Alliance wants me to do, because NATO run every damn thing. Shoot. I was looking at the news today, but we look at the news. NATO runs everything. Turkey gets away with murder, anything they want to do because they're a member of NATO. So they're a NATO ally. But we won't go down that. I start talking about that, and then they start playing with the feed again. Look, I done made some changes. We fine-streamed. Hopefully we don't have any more issues. Good morning, everybody. I want to talk about drugs. We talk about drugs. I'll talk about drugs. I was asking a question on my thread. I get all anxious. I get excited when I ask questions. I want to know about psychedelics. I want to know what y'all experiences are, because psychedelics are in the news. Microdosing. People are microdosing all over Silicon Valley. People in the office work are microdosing. I got a couple friends microdosing. And I'm trying to figure out the whys. I have some theories. I have some theories about fungi. Being a gardener, I know the benefits of mycorrhizae fungi. I know that we have a symbiotic relationship with these things, like plants do. Fungi, and this is fungi behind me, by the way. Did y'all know that the first big things to grow on the planet were fungi? 30-foot fungi, 30-foot mushrooms, shrooms, who were here 500 million years ago, before anything could stand higher than knee-high to being a grasshopper. So they are very key to the foundations of life from a scientific, biological perspective. And for my religious friends, they would be the first ones in the Garden of Eden. So let's think about it like that, because I know sometimes you get your conservative friends like, they're talking about drugs. I don't like it when he talks about drugs, because Jesus didn't like no drug. First of all, Jesus heated up the herbs, so let's not go there. But outside of that, God made everything. If God made everything, oh, God made some, made some psychedelic some things. But actually, what is it? Like, I like to ask people who've done it. I never have. I'm not a drug guy, to be honest with you. I've never done mushrooms, never done psychedelics, never smoked cannabis. I smoked some oregano though once. I smoked some herb. I did smoke. Little bastards when I was in college gave me some oregano and I smoked it. Didn't do anything. It tasted good though. It made me hungry. But I think we have to look back at the building blocks of life. We have to think about, why are human beings so sick, right? Fungi, when it started, it was one of the most prolific things on the planet because it could grow to be so high. It learned how to break down rock, minerals, anything. It knew how to break down dead plant matter. So it for 500 million years has been solving problems, right? How do you take asteroid dust? How do you take decaying matter? How do you make rock and make energy out of it? Intelligence in a way we don't understand. Important to think about. When I say talk about drugs, I don't talk about pharmaceutical drugs. Let's be clear. Let's be very clear. I don't believe in your pharmaceutical companies. I don't. I used to work for a few of them. I don't believe in them at all. Not all. Not one bit. Drugs are important when it comes to saving people's lives. Drugs are not important when it comes to health. The one thing that nobody is telling you about the epigenetic effect that these manufactured laboratory drugs are actually having on the human body. And it's not a good idea. It's not a good thing. They're actually changing your DNA. It's a bad idea. That's why I don't take anything. I don't take Tylenol. I don't take aspirin. I don't take any of that crap. And it's not because we won't ever figure out how to make drugs. It's right. We don't have a good pharma model. We don't have a good pharmacological model for making natural medicine. It's not medicine, it's poison. It does some benefits because at the molecular level, they can kind of sort of make it look like something that comes out of the mushroom, something that kind of sort of looks like it comes out of some fruit and vegetables, that kind of sort of looks like some of the compounds. But at the atomic level, it's not the same thing. Vitamin C made in a lab is not vitamin C in nature. Right? Psilocybin, if they're making that, which is the active ingredient in mushrooms that give you that psychedelic experience, they don't, if they're making it in a lab, because I know a lot of the studies ended up in explaining how neurotransmitters work. But if they're actually making that stuff in a lab, it's not actually the compound that our bodies have been seeing for millions of years. And that's the problem. These drugs don't have side effects. Yes, Brother Philip is already on it with Graham Hancock. If y'all didn't watch that, was it Graham Hancock? Well, Graham is one of them. I liked his talk with Joe Rogan, but who was the other? We posted a while ago. Philip, I know you remember it. Who is the brother that hangs out? I think he runs with Graham. Mushroom guy. What is his name? I know y'all know who I'm talking about. You need to watch his a good 2-3 hour talk where he kind of explains mushrooms. I forgot his name. So I talk about natural medicine. I don't want to talk about pharmaceuticals. It's not a hit on the pharmaceutical industry. They can save your life. They have some drugs that do save your life. The reality is they're not medicine. They're just drugs. What comes out of nature is all medicine. I don't believe in your laws. I don't believe in your Schedule 1. I don't believe in any of that because you're killing a lot of people. And the pharmaceutical model is broken. They can actually fix it if everything weren't for profit, right? If they weren't rushing to make these things for profit, if the compounds, if the compounds they made at the molecular level could look exactly like or closer to what comes out of nature, then you'd have less side effects. Your body would recognize it. It wouldn't cause all the damage that it does. So I'm a believer in natural medicine. No one posted his name. I forgot his name. He had a great talk. I'll post it later. So I'm gonna look at the microdosing. I'm gonna ask the question. Is anybody on here microdose? Anybody know any feedback on your psychedelic experience?
Yeah, you could.
Okay, explain this to me.
That's a normal dose is a square.
That square there?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's tiny. That's a whole dose.
This is only maybe 20 mics, 20 milligrams of LSD.
And how much is this?
And that one's 200 as a full tab.
So this would be enough to give you a trip?
It would, yes. Each morning I take vitamins. Take it with a cup of tea and me toast.
So in the morning it's vitamins, tea?
And a little bit of LSD, yeah.
These are the faith.
I'm sorry, let me translate. For anybody who doesn't talk to anybody in the UK, vitamins, he takes vitamins in his tea with the microdosing, the psilocybin mushroom, little wafer thing. Vitamins, they're actually vitamins. That's what they are. I have to translate sometimes. I work for a big pharmaceutical company, a lot of people from the UK, so I had to translate for people. Vitamins, those are vitamins, just to let y'all know.
Full of LSD or acid heads, the exposed tip of an iceberg of more sporadic users.
Psychedelic drugs, LSD, magic mushrooms, are usually associated with long mind-bending trips, hallucinations, and hippies.
Instant chemical wisdom obviously doesn't exist.
The people I've been meeting, though, are taking the Class A drugs in tiny doses in an attempt to improve their lives, make them more creative, happier, and in some cases deal with severe mental health problems. This is called microdosing. We are in the great British countryside, and this is actually a place where you can quite easily get hold of psychedelic drugs because magic mushrooms grow here.
They grow there.
I'm off to see someone who's used those to microdose.
Imagine that. They grow by themselves. You actually don't have to plant them. They just grow. Almost like they were here in the Garden of Eden, that God put them here for you to eat. I'm gonna stop there for a moment. Almost as though they were here the whole time. So think about it like this. Knee high to a grasshopper. You know, I know some of y'all think that we started as people and people just popped out and God said, people. That's not how it worked. God took the DNA out of everything that was on the ground, the dust of the earth, took 98% of the monkey DNA, and I kind of believe the whole Anunnaki God thing, something like that. But anyway, we ate what was on the ground, right? As marsupials, mammals, all that DNA before it came monkey DNA, whatever, we ate everything on the ground. All the mushrooms, we didn't discriminate. And some of the mushrooms are a little more fun than others, right? You know, a little marsupial running around. You ate this fungi, it made you more of a fun guy. And so you ate more of that fungi because it made you feel good, gave you a sense of peace, which is why I want to talk about this. Always help people. Always. Rule of thumb. Always help people. If the people who need help, you need to help them and discuss how you're helping them later, right? We have a mental illness crisis. We have a depression crisis. We have people who, troops, 22 a day committing suicide. People in the nations that they're invading committed suicide. Our world makes no sense. We have egos and we have problems that seem to have been solved long ago in terms of having something natural people could take to make them more at peace with our evil little monoculture. Always help people, which, by the way, I'm a little upset. I know I said it last night. We have to talk about these things, right? Because if Silicon Valley is using the same medicinals, if Hollywood is using the same medicinals, if the elite all over New York and all over the world are using these same medicinals that kids use that we put in prison for, we got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. And I got a problem. I need to hear an official statement from Black Lives Matter. We got a problem. Yeah, we got a problem. I posted it yesterday. You know, always help people. And if you call yourself Black Lives Matter and you got one of your leaders and Trump passes a bill, we might look at that. Passes a bill because that was in his campaign statement. I don't know what they call him, but they said, this is what I'm gonna do in my administration. And he said it, and no one else said it, no Democrats, because you don't like it or because the person was white who did it. Actually are freeing slaves, people, kids who should not be in prison. Your position is only help those people, let them out. It's not critiquing the bill. I'm gonna get upset, so I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna stop. I'm just hoping that this young lady who was on the talk that I posted yesterday, that was on Al Jazeera, I'll post it again, who was heavily critiquing emancipating and proclamating letting these kids out of prison because they didn't like who wrote the bill. I got a problem. All right, I'm done. We're gonna watch this. We're gonna get psychedelics. We're gonna feel good. I'm touchy. I'm touchy when it comes to the prison system. I'm sorry. We need to let everybody out. We need to let them all out. I'm sorry. We need institutions. We need to help people. We need to agree with the fact that environment makes people, and over time it becomes nature. Nurture. Was it like that old debate that was solved? They say, it's nature. No, it's nurture. And then your body changes, it evolves new epigenetic gene flips to survive in the environment, and then it passes on in DNA and it becomes nature. So it's nature and nurture. So everybody in the prison system was there for a reason, because your nature sucks. And your nurture, because your nurture prior, your society's nurture is no good. They all need help. We can fix everybody. All right, I'm done. I got upset. I know it just sent me down the avenue. I'm sorry. But if you call yourself White Lives Matter, then when people come to help the white people, you're supposed to be okay with it. You're supposed to cheer no matter who they come as. If it's Godzilla, they want to help white people, that's what you think you are, then that's what you're supposed to support. If your name Black Lives Matter and the prison full of black people, when somebody comes along and helps them, if it's Trump, Babalu, Big Biggie, and what's the David Duke, I don't care who it is. Somebody comes to help these kids out of prison, you're supposed to be positive about it and push forward, not critique it. You know, this is step one. All right, done. I'm done. I drink my coffee. I'm gonna sit back. I'm shut up. Just to clarify, my problem is I've had close friends swallowed by the prison system. And all right.
Hi, I'm Katrin.
Hey, nice to meet you.
This place is lovely.
Thank you.
I'm intrigued about your microdosing.
Okay, where do you want to start? When I was at university, I, like most students, I took recreational drugs. I think I discovered by accident one day when I was very bored that you could take a small amount of LSD, and it was really useful in a not very recreational way. And so I had learned that a really useful, nice thing to do with it would be to have it kind of on a day off and have quite a normal day, but the quality of that day on all sorts of fronts would just be a lot better. So I would go for a walk and I would be struck by how blue the sky was. All of those bits of like sense data that I think we often just lose to getting stuff done and being outcome focused would be really, like, they'd be there. There's something really relaxing and grounding about it.
It wasn't until moving to the country that Anna tried microdosing again. She's a mum of 2 and a writer. We've changed her name.
Out of curiosity, I was running one day up on the hills, and I didn't have to be back anywhere for quite a long time, so I picked a couple of mushrooms, and I was curious to see what happened. It wasn't a very dramatic thing. I was really aware of enjoying moving and enjoying being outside. And I went to a friend's house later that day and we had a really great chat. I really wanted to make the house look nice. Again, I had quite an ordinary day and I really enjoyed it, and I felt just quite happy and calm and grounded, and I slept fantastically well that night. During the time that they were in season, it was possible to pick a couple, then I would, because I knew that it was making me get more done and sleep better and just having a slightly better quality of life, I guess. The most noticeable thing for me was that I was a lot tidier. I'm a really messy person, but I got very fussy about my physical space. I wanted everything to look nice. And so I would find myself suddenly possessed to tidy and clean the kitchen. I would really get into doing the recycling.
How do you justify the fact that it is completely illegal?
When you're doing something that isn't causing any harm to anybody else or to yourself, there's nothing really that needs to be justified there. I query the relevance and the sanity of the legal frameworks that we have around drugs.
Hello.
I'm gonna stop for a minute. So y'all posted a few things I want to talk about. So clarity. I kind of view that as, I'm supposed to wear glasses. Again, I was a geek, destroyed my eyes as a kid, computer screens and reading. I live in a blurry world. Things at a distance, if you're beyond 20 feet, you look like everybody else. That's why I'm not into identity. Because you know what, beyond 20 feet, I'm sorry, but everybody from Europe, y'all look alike. Everybody from Africa, y'all look alike too. Everybody from North America, I can't tell who is beyond 20, 30 feet. I don't know who the hell y'all are. Hey, how you doing? It's probably why I'm nice to everybody. I get to talk to everybody because I can't see a damn thing. But when I put my glasses on, clarity, detail. Somebody who does this, tell me if this is how you experience it. My blurry world becomes crystal clear when I put them in. The car looks cleaner. It looks shinier. Colors look more vibrant. It sounds like that's what she's kind of explaining. And to me, I love it. I do love putting on my glasses. I can actually see things at a distance. Clarity. Something else she said, which is something else I wanted to focus on. Anna said, no ego. And I think it was Michael Pollan. I don't think it was Graham Hancock on this one. I think Michael Pollan, he explained it was like looking at your ego from 30,000 feet. Where, you're outside of yourself and you're able to examine yourself better. I'm listening to what she's saying in terms of getting along with people and having less conflict, having more peace and relaxed. Know what that's doing in my head? That's making me really wonder about why they're illegal. It really if you have natural medications, if you've got, and they say the same thing for cannabis, which I've never smoked, that it makes you peaceful. It makes you calm. It allows you to step back and view things. All the stresses in your life aren't as stressing. It makes you less conflict focused. It makes you less violent. It gives you a sense of peace. If I were a ruler, if I were a leader, and I wanted to control people, I would certainly take away the things that make you peaceful. Why? Because of what Tony Blair said. Tony Blair said a democracy is the hardest form of government to run. The government has no power. The only power the government has, it has to take from the people, and the people don't want to give you a damn thing. They don't want to give you their rights. The only way you get rights is you got to keep them arguing. You got to keep them fighting. Doesn't matter what they fight over. They can't be at peace. They can't be calm. They can't go to the neighbor's house and redecorate. She's talking about redecorate with her neighbor. They have to be angry. They have to be stressed, because when we're stressed and we're angry, we're not at peace, we're not thinking, We're prone to conflict. We're chess pieces. We're identities. We'll do these things that we wouldn't normally do. But when you can view your ego, when you can step back and look at yourself and process who you are, where you're going in life, if you're going the right directions, if you are who you should be, if you're able to start to break down your ego, you become a fun guy and a fun gal and you become something that's evolving. You know, there is a theory. Well, whose theory is it? The stoned ape theory, that as apes, that one day we started eating the mushrooms, and because this is the guy I'm thinking of, and I can't think of his name, and I think this is where he came from. He died. No. He died. He had the stoned ape theory that we started eating these mushrooms. We started getting these psychedelic trips. It started changing how their brain works because fungi have been here for a long time. They've been in every single creature. They've been in every nook and cranny. They've been in all life forms. They drive plant life. They actually feed plants. They have a symbiotic relationship with plants. Fungi has a symbiotic relationship with you. And what are the odds that symbiotic relationship allows them to drive the brain, allows them to change the brain, evolve the brain, the same way gut bacteria does, right? Because gut bacteria, it actually interfaces with your immune system. It interfaces with your brain, with your gut. All of these things are interconnected. And to me, I don't actually have to have all the science click. I don't actually really need that. Just from a natural perspective, if we've always eaten these things, then it's something that helped design and engineer us. Then it's something that you have to keep. It's like a marriage. What they say is what brings people together is what keeps them together. You were bringing roses and flowers, and after a while, the wife, you kind of get used to them roses and them flowers and going out on Wednesdays. The husband, you throwing it at him that 5 days a week. He kind of gets used to that. And he's like, yeah, I can do this the rest of my life. Damn it, let's get married. The wife is like, yeah. Oh, nice and courteous, and open the door for me, puddle on the sidewalk, lay his jacket down, I can walk over top of it. Damn it, I can do this the rest of my life. People get used to it. Our bodies got used to fungi. Our bodies got used to microbiology. Our bodies got used to all these things, and they thrive with them. They develop symbiotic relationships we won't discover for 100 years. But like a marriage, then one day he stops bringing home the roses on Wednesday. You know, he stops taking her out to dinner on Thursday. Now, Houston, we got a problem. She slows it down. It's not 5 days a week. Come 2 days a week, once a week on your birthday. If you're nice and you cut the grass in the way that I like with the patterns in the Houston, we got a problem. You know, I look at the modern disease apocalypse we're in, this state of our bodies being in dis-ease. If you took away something like fungi and cannabis, something that grew prolifically all over this planet that our bodies evolved with, hell yeah, that's going to create some dis-ease. Shoot, that might divorce us from health. Oh, might get a separation from it. Oh, somebody just said it. Paul Stamens. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Paul Stamens. That's why I love my brain. It's probably because I don't eat the right mushrooms. That's probably why I misthought sometimes. Right, Paul Stamens had that theory. He's a mushroom expert. He explains, like I think it was Paul Stamens when I first heard about the experiment where they took the fungi and they laid out the Japanese subway system, and the fungi actually reorchestrated a more efficient means of the subway system, where they took, I think it was sugars or something, and they put them where all the train stops were. And the fungi was like, no, this is a mistake. You got to do it this way and connect this train to this, to maximize on the efficiency of taking in the energy. How would fungi know how to do that? Because it's been here a long time. Is it possible while we were evolving, it's been doing that in us? That it's been reorchestrating our brains? Like, I'm curious about these psychedelic trips. What are they really? Is it possible that we're being driven by fungi while you're having that trip? And why do they call it a trip? Are you really tripping and falling? Or are you actually learning how to walk? Is it, hold, let me hide this. Is it actually showing to you what the world really looks like? Where's the picture I want to show you? Hold on. Is it actually showing you? Because everything is perception, right? Your brain is actually looking at energy and it's perceiving what the person looks like. It's perceiving color from energy, wave energy. Is it actually mushrooms can see something that looks a little more like this? It's going to show in a minute. Wait for it. Right. Is it possible that mushrooms just have a sense and they're actually allowing us to see more of what is actually there? Is it possible that you're looking into another dimension? Is it possible that it's just changing your brain so you can see some things that you wouldn't normally see? I mean, even just thoughts, right? Because they do these trips. Who was it? Michael Pollan, who just wrote the book about, he explained that, you know, you cover up your eyes and you're not actually looking at the real world, but you're thinking about the real world. And that the fungi is changing how things are being represented to your brains. I mean, the whole, was it dendrites, the neural connections that they discovered from the mushrooms, that they're interfacing and they're making connections in your brain that aren't normally there. Maybe it's modifying the connections. So when you even think about a thing, it's changing how it's being represented and perceived in your brain, even though you're not looking at anything. We don't know. This is why I hate your laws. I don't care about your laws. I don't care anything about your laws. I think you're actually pretty evil. You're schedule oneing of things that we've always eaten, things that perhaps were evolving us to be more peaceful. And they block out the things, so we live in a disease-riddled apocalypse where you need these pharmaceutical companies. You need to buy all of this medicine that's making you even sicker. That's the #1 killer in the United States right now, is overdosing on pharmaceutical drugs. That's the #1 killers. But if you can make people more conflict and sick and more violent, less at peace, that causes a problem. Yeah, Anna said break the law. I'm a big believer in break the law because I don't believe in your laws. I'm a big believer in it. I'm not, now don't get caught. Don't get caught. It's like, you're going outside on recess, the teacher said, don't run. You go to the pool. When I was a little kid, you go to the pool, don't run on the side of the pool. And just wait till the lifeguard ain't looking. No, I don't believe in, we have a world to fix. We have a world to fix. And we're not going to fix that world if we follow the rules of the psychopaths who wrote the rules. No. We got a world to fix. I'm not saying go out and microdose. I'm not saying that. And I want to go back and watch the rest of this. But what I am saying is that if we evolve to have something, I don't really care about your studies. And they're now there. And this is what was on this on. This is on the BBC. And so now they're going to be studying them more. There are more universities that are getting permits to actually study the psychedelic mushrooms. And I'm curious about them. I love the pharmaceutical industry for their ability to study things and diagnosis. I do. I love the medical industry for those things. I don't give a damn what they figure out. I want to see what they figure out, but I actually don't give a damn. If we evolved on it, then it's natural to our body. We evolved in our bodies, and the microbiology in them learned to solve problems based on what we ate most. This is why I am a vegetarian. Why? Because we mostly ate fruits and vegetables through the majority of our evolution. And so our bodies are highly prone to taking the compounds in those fruits and vegetables and solving things like cancer and leukemia and evolving the brain, creating more connections, allowing us to see the matrix more. Who knows what it does? So let me watch, I'm gonna watch a little more of this, some more of the experience. But I think ego is something. Ego is something. Imagine if everybody could actually view themselves from outside themselves. It would be interesting where the world would go. It would be very interesting. What if politicians could? What if we did? What if we became less tribal because of what we saw? What if it made us want to be better people? Like I want to go to my thread and look, there was a brother who was already starting to comment that it changed him. It allowed him to, I have to look at the exact words he used, but it allowed him to see himself. And the next question I have for him, I don't know if he already answered. I got to take a look back. Maybe you can answer it. But did it actually end up in real world changes where you actually were able to take that experience you had in seeing yourself outside of yourself, and you actually modified your world, your existence, because of what you saw, whether you liked it or you didn't like it. Maybe it exposed you to more of the real world than what we can see now.
Simpa?
Yes, nice to meet you.
Oh yeah, Katrin. Simpa is 28 and lives in Durham. He tells me he had a very abusive childhood and now suffers from severe mental health problems. He microdoses LSD with his tea in the morning. So how often do you take it?
Every 2 months, 6 weeks. A therapeutic dose.
So you don't do it constantly?
Not constantly. If you build up a tolerance to anything, it stops the effect of it, really.
Can you tell me what you're dealing with and how it helps?
Depression and anxiety as a result of this childhood trauma that led to borderline personality disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder. So all of these things together are currently dealt with by GPs with a large amount of different pills, each of which causes more side effects, I found in my personal experience, than the benefits these drugs provide. These substances, I found, give me the benefits without any of those drawbacks. So then me using these substances means that I've been able to view my trauma so that it's just an experience. It's a memory like any other. It doesn't hold me hostage anymore. These substances can be reused again in the psychiatric toolkit to help better people.
Hang on, I just thought of something. I just heard something there. So if people who had traumatic events in life, if people who came from abusive homes, people who came from poverty, people who came from watching their father beat the mother, who ended up beating their wife, if people came from environments that, and we listened to the behavioral scientists, that they became abusers because they came from abuse, that they adopted hate because they came from hate, that they had trauma from going to war, PTSD. What are the effects of taking out something that allows us to deal with trauma? What are the effects? What are the long-term effects on a society of taking people who are encouraged to violence because you actually schedule something that allows them to pack it away? I think about things like rape and violence, the things that are destroying and decaying our society, the things that just should not exist anymore. And what if people who are actually being invoked to do these violence were actually able to treat themselves? What if they were actually able to take it? Like, I think back to Charlottesville, and I think about what happened with the white nationalists driving a car over someone's baby. What if that was a person who was dealing with some serious trauma? What if that person could have been able to deal with it? I think about things like that.
The problem is, in terms of credible medical research, there's currently no evidence to back up Simpa's experiences. James Rucker was recently involved in a pilot trial at Imperial College London, looking at the use of magic mushrooms in clinical depression. It did not, however, look at microdosing.
Microdosing, we know at a medical level absolutely nothing about. There have been no trials looking at microdosing at all. And the only way that we can sort out whether or not it works or it doesn't is by doing a blinded...
Well, I'm gonna stop there for a minute, too. No, you know nothing about it. I know something. And it's not because I microdose, it's because, damn it, we've been eating mushrooms. We've been microdosing since we've been on this planet. We've been eating those mushrooms since the very beginning, probably in small and large doses. So no, we know the human body knows a hell of a lot about microdosing. We know that you, the pharmaceutical industry, and you don't. But anyway, I want to kind of move forward a little bit. Yeah, I'll post the video. I can't watch the whole thing because we run out of time. We sit and watch the whole video. I wanted to move on to, I think there was another person giving her experience that I wanted to, hang on, right about here. And someone said, does it invoke psychopathy? Yeah, so apparently that was one of the spits about, is that, oh, well, it can induce schizophrenia, something like that. And I don't know how true that is versus lie, because this is going back, what, 40 years ago when they banned these things. So modern science today is further ahead of what they knew back then anyway. And besides the fact that there was a big push to get rid of these things, They would have, whether it was to make us more violent and more tribal and conflict, maybe it was maybe to make us to go to work. I don't know. Maybe it's because they did want to put away all the anti-war activists, right? Coming out of the Vietnam War, that they were using these drugs and they wanted to put them in prison in the best way, the same way they did with systemic, they invoked laws in our society to put certain people in prison, the Mexicans and the African Americans going back, right? If you take an aspect of what those people use, then you can use that to incarcerate them, right? So maybe it was a thing to go after the hippies, and I don't know, but we don't. All right, let me keep going. I'm just saying they if they don't like you, they can take something and inject a law, which, by the way, so gun control is back in the news also, right? If they don't like the veterans, if they don't like the redneck survivalists that you say that you don't like, that's supposed to be your enemy, not your brother, then all they got to do is outlaw certain types of weapons or ammunition or whatever that they have. And of course, they're not going to give them up, and they shouldn't give them up. Why? It's their Second Amendment. It's their right to have it, and their government is a murdery bastard. So it actually makes sense for them to keep it. But they take something and they outlaw it to go after a community. And that way they don't have to call it the redneck law. They don't have to call the drug laws the Mexican or the African laws, right? Because they were smoking reefer madness. They don't actually have to do that. All they have to do is take an aspect of your society, so it's not actually discrimination, and get a lot of angry people on the other side to support it. I want to show you something here. Hang on. I know a lady said something around this part that I wanted to
One day, I did the microdose, and at first I felt nothing, and I thought, oh well, this is a failed endeavor.
Ayelet Waldman is a successful author and former lawyer who lives in California. She suffers from a mood disorder that had been managed by prescription medication, but she fell into a depression. She was suicidal. She's not a fan of drugs, but says desperation made her try microdosing LSD.
I got to work, writing what I was working on then, and then about 90 minutes later, I looked up and I looked at the window, and I had, at the time, a dogwood tree in my yard. The dogwood was in bloom, and I thought to myself, oh look, the dogwood's in bloom. It's so beautiful. And it wasn't like the blossoms were, shimmering in psychedelic colors. It was just that I hadn't been able to appreciate anything like that in so long. I had been all but anhedonic, that to be able to appreciate beauty in that moment was earth-shaking.
I'm gonna pause for a minute. I did something else she said I wanted to focus on, but being able to appreciate things more. Is it because you're actually seeing them? Why are you appreciating them more? Is it increasing your focus? Is that why Silicon Valley is doing all these things that they're supposed to be in prison for, if you're putting all the poor people all throughout the country in prison for it? Allowing you to see it crisper, clearer. How does something become crisper and clearer to your brain? Is it allowing you to zoom in? Are you seeing more of the breakdown of the wave energy that all this stuff is? That, there are very few particles in the environment and matter. It's mostly energy and waves. Is it allowing you to see the crisper colors? And is that why the shiny is shinier? Focusing the brain. Did we need focus when we were being chased by velociraptors and grizzly bears and wolves? And did we need that type of focus? And so is this a thing of evolutionary symbiosis? Maybe.
It was a really remarkable treatment for me. It's one that I'm really sorry I can't do every day, because it resolved my depression instantaneously. And while it didn't...
Really?
Yeah. While it didn't I wasn't happy. At least I could handle... I was no longer contemplating killing myself. I was much less likely to fly off the handle. I got my work done more effectively. It worked the way my psychiatrist had always promised to me that my antidepressants would work.
Being able to appreciate, and I'll post her whole story. I can't play the whole video. I'll post the link so you guys can watch it. But being able to appreciate nature. Who just said that? Someone said something like that. Being able to appreciate nature better. You think about climate change. You think about a lack of respect for our environment. You think about ecosystem destruction. You think about the 200 species a day that are going away. Brother Jack said something about a lack of focus, and our senses are being bombarded by all the craziness, everything that's happening, and we're not able to focus. What if we had more of an appreciation for nature? What if we had more an appreciation for each other? You know, someone mentioned earlier that it gave them the ability to have a little more empathy. Was that Brother Gown? You know, that it gave you a little more empathy. How dangerous is empathy? A population that doesn't divide up against each other and fight each other for resources, but a population that actually is at peace and focuses and says, you know what, we got to work together. The whole planet's trying to kill us and everything's always trying to come for us. So that's why I don't really care about your laws. I realize that psychopaths, when they write the laws, it does that. It makes you more humble, right, Anna? And humble people are hard to get to go to war. You know how hard it is to get somebody to go kill somebody that doesn't have an ego, that has humility, that has empathy, that like cares for their neighbor, somebody that enjoys nature, doesn't want to drop bombs with white phosphorus on children. Do you know how hard it is to take over a world and run an empire with people who actually get it? It's starting to make a little sense to me. I don't know about y'all. Starting to make a little sense to me. And I'll post a link, but I think it's important that we start tapping into these things that we've always done since the beginning of time. Let me look at some comments. That's why they want to outlaw it. That's what I'm thinking, Tina. I'm thinking that's why they outlawed it. I think that's why they outlaw things. They don't outlaw things for your safety. They outlaw things for their safety, right? They outlaw things for their profit. If you can make people, because I sit there and I wonder about it. Like I'm thinking about what Jack just said. I'm thinking about it. Like, man, like my family is like, they're all over the place, right? They're reading the Washington Post and Trump is coming for this and Trump is coming for that. I think about the lady from Black Lives Matter who hates the First Step Initiative, freeing all these inmates. We know maybe she's just getting hit from all different directions, right? Trump is doing that. Trump is doing that. He's evil. He's racist. He's blah, blah, blah. And they can't stop him. And they can't focus. Say, wait a minute. Whoa, stop. He's doing everything everybody's always done. Why do you want me to focus on this guy so much? Because they get you that fear, maybe. Maybe this is all, you know, maybe it was an accident, but now they just use this over explosion of senses to get people to evoke back to the reptilian brain, back to the ape brain, and makes them more violent. Maybe that's what it is. I think, Jack, you're onto something. I think it's an overload in senses, because that's how my friends that they do cannabis and microdose, and well, it's not microdose, they do it. I know some people microdose. I know friends, they in it. They're into it, right? You know, but if it gives them that focus, that's dangerous. This gets me back to the George Carlin comments, right? You don't want a focused population. You don't want an empathetic population. You want people just smart enough to work the machines, but not question why. You want people just smart enough to work for the federal government. 800,000 people that aren't getting paid, but not question if they should. I know, it's a touchy topic. This is why I think all the news and all this stuff fits together, our modern times, and looking back and looking at how all of this works together. Because if you actually question if you should be working for the federal government, not waiting for your next paycheck, if you were actually saying, you know what, maybe I need to go get a different job. Maybe I shouldn't work for rapists. Maybe I shouldn't work for genocide. But money breaks people. Money breaks people, and dividing them up and getting them scared makes them want to make more money to have more safety. Give $100 million to Black Lives Matter, you can make it into Money Lives Matter. You can make it into Green Lives Matter. You can make it pro-slavery if now we have an organization and it's based on Black Lives Not Mattering. This is how you break things, but this is how they've always been writing the laws. And this is why I hate laws, because almost all the laws that I've read, they were always taking a problem, and making it a part of an industry. That's why they're not curing cancer, because cancer is an industry. You know, and so in a way, I think you broke Black Lives Matter by giving them $100 million. I think you broke them when it was poor people were like, stop killing everybody. I think you broke them. This is why I think if I were head of Black Lives Matter, I'd take $50 million and I'd give it to White Lives Matter. Because it's conflict. You know, as long as your people are tribal and stupid and mine are tribal and stupid, then we can fight each other, then the problem never goes away. I can write a lot of books. I can build a whole career on it. Our history is full of sellouts going all the way back. And it's not anything against Black Lives Matter, not anything against white lives, not anything against anybody. It's just how we work. It's psychology. We're always being played against each other, and we got to be smarter than that. Always help people. always help people. If this young lady was about to commit suicide, I mean, when you watch the video, listen to her whole story, she was going through her medicine cabinet, figuring out which drugs to take that would kill her the fastest. And she magically would take these magic mushrooms, and it gave her a new lot on life. It allowed her to focus on the positive things. And she now is alive today. She didn't commit suicide because of it. How many Nikola Teslas are committing suicide because they can't deal with all of the distractions in the world, the things that are making them crazy? How many people have we lost because we scheduled one that's nonsense? Well, because we did schedule one as nonsense. Yeah, cancer is an industry. They don't pay for research that goes to the root. They don't, because they make money, Kimberly, on it, right? They like money. Once you like money and if they can attach your survival to an ill, then you'll look the other way. You'll look the other way. You'll sit there in the federal government and wonder where your check's coming from. Not if it's drenched in blood every time it's come. People need to use logic to see that they are pulling heartstrings. Yeah, they are. They are, Jamie. And I think it's logic, but there's a lot of other things to it, because I try to empathize with why people are so aggressively tribal, and they'll turn on each other and they'll turn on themselves if the survival is based on it. We're being starved. You know, I think that maybe this microdosing is important. Maybe we need to get fungi back in our brains and fungi back in our body. Maybe we need to bring in the creatures that drive the flora and the fauna and drive our immune system and drive our brain and help us solve problems, right? If microbiology can target cancer, my God, what can fungi do? You know, a creature that evolved to be a problem solver. If bacteria can break down plastic in the ocean and figure out how to do that, what can fungi figure out to do in your body? The guy who invented Reddit committed suicide. Right, Ellen? And so what if we lost Nikola Tesla? If Nikola Tesla had traumatic upbringing, because he did to a degree, he was a poor guy. 80% of all the technology we have is all based on Nikola Tesla, from cell phones to cars to televisions, all of it. We would still almost just be out of the caves hitting each other with clubs if it weren't for Nikola Tesla. But thank goodness he was able to deal with the little evil world we live in and invent what he does. That's why I think in so many ways we've been set back in evolution. I think technologically we'd be so much further ahead if it weren't for our kings and lords and all the minions who support them. Banning. Because who started that? That was the devil bill. That was John D Rockefeller starting off the prohibition and this walking us into an age of banning things that people need for psychological wellness. We have a mental illness apocalypse. Antibacterials, antimicrobials, we need those things, people. Yes, we need antibacterials, and well, you know, so okay, I see what you're saying, Tina. So from a perspective of saving lives, absolutely, we need the science, we do. But the microbes, the bacteria, they are us. We are bacteria. And I get what you're saying, and you're right. We are bacteria. We are microbes. They're a part of us like everything else. They drive the human cells. And without them, this is why I don't understand why parents walk around with these antibacterial wipes, constantly wiping their kids' hands down. That's nuts to me. It's just nuts. I mean, is there dangerous bacteria out there? Absolutely. But the vast majority isn't. The vast majority is beneficial. Your body knows what it is and knows how to deal with it. And the more you're exposed to it, the healthier you're going to be. Patents and money hoarding. Exactly, Gun. This is why I don't believe in patents. I don't believe in money either. You know, they held us back. We might be on planet Reticuli Zeta Cephali 7 right by now, but we're not. We're still here fighting over oil. We're fighting over race, fighting over identity, fighting over things that just don't matter in a 30,000-foot view of our egos, fighting over our births, we talked about yesterday, balancing flora. Yes, Jamie, and I think it balanced itself out. Play in the dirt. Yes, Georgia, get them kids out in that mud. I grew up in a swamp. I had dirt everywhere. You know where else I got dirt from, Georgia? I got dirt from my white friends. My white friend, my one in particular, who had all this white privilege and he grew up in a shack. in a shack and wore the same tennis shoes for like 5 years. I got bacteria from him. I used to share my lunch with him. You know, he had all this white privilege, right? That's why I don't play these games, and I'm so sick of the nonsense. Anybody who's trying to get you to divide up and fight somebody else, if you don't smack them in the head, just walk away. Just walk away. We don't have time for this. We need to be figuring out how to work together, not how to take from each other. And if you want to take something from somebody, make sure they got $1 billion in the bank. If they don't have $1 billion in their bank account, that person didn't do nothing to you. But we're always being led by these leaders. So I talked about leaders yesterday. Leaders. Because Black Lives Matter leader, or one of their leaders, tells you that releasing the slaves from out of prison is a bad idea. You go along with like, oh, that's a bad idea. Meanwhile, they're just at the top. Everybody wants to rule the world. You should not have a leader. All of these concepts of conflict are given to you by your leaders. People need to stop talking about that nonsense. This privilege and this fragility and this white guilt. Shut up. Just stop. Grow up. Get past it. We got real problems. That is not one of them. Not one of them at all. It's designed for conflict. It's designed to keep you, poor person, fighting the other poor person. We need to grow up. We need to evolve. We got real problems in this world. You know, pee privilege. Are you drinking? Are you drinking your own pee? If you aren't drinking your own pee, then shut up. I love you to death. I do. I love you long as the day is long. But stop talking stupid. You got pee privilege. Don't use your pee privilege to levy white privilege over somebody else if you ain't drinking your own pee. How about mud cake privilege? If you ain't got no mud cake privilege, and why am I? Let me stop. I know. I get a little. It can hit me a little bit. It can hit me a little bit. We got real problems in the world, and we don't focus on them because we let leaders who are psychopaths gives us dumb ideas to run with. You know, bring it down, bring it down. Shoot, I'm talking about no daggone Black Lives Matter. I love y'all to death, man. I'm sick of that. Y'all gonna drive me crazy. Free the slaves, damn it. Oh, Lincoln, here's not the Emancipation Proclamation. We're not ready to emancipate and proclamate. Are you kidding me? We got 17-year-old babies in. All right, let me stop. I have to say that. I'm sorry, I have to say that because you got to police your own communities. Now, mind you, if y'all know me, the 7 billion is my community, but y'all look at me and you see this, and people look at me, they see this, they don't know me. I got to talk like that, right? When people start policing their own communities more, we go in the right direction. And people see that's my community. So yeah, I'm going to chastise them. I'm Christian too. I chastise them all damn day. I take that Bible out. I take that Bible, just beating them in the head. Why? Because they beating you in the head. So I need to take the Bible and beat them in the head too. And I do it all the daggone time. Police your own communities. Police the things that you know about. That's how we evolve. Stay in your mirror. Stay in your mirror. The communities you know best, keep them honest. Keep them integrity. Integrity drenched. If you still love Bernie, damn it, you need to get some integrity in that man. He doesn't have any. He doesn't have any. None. Zero. Gone. War industrial complex man. Gone. You love Trump, then you need to put some integrity back in him. You need to chastise him. If you love Obama, you need to chastise him too. How the hell? Why didn't he write the Emancipation and Proclamation that Trump just did? Huh? See, he didn't because you didn't chastise him. It's because you didn't put any integrity. You force integrity in people. But I think it's focus. I think it's focus. Back to microdosing, I think it's focus. I think people just aren't in tune. Because exactly what Brother Jack just said. They're not locked in. They're not honed in. They're not playing with their star player. As Cat Williams said, gotta play with your star player. Bring your star player out. Literally star. Star energy, wave energy. Bring your star player out. Put your little race away. Put your little religion away. Put your little nation away. Bring out your star player. Money is paper. That's all it is, Jamie. But we make it so much more. We make it powerful. We give it a dose of evil that it should not have. But that's why I say we just walk away. Not a violent cat. I'm all about walk away. Walk away from the evil system. The only reason they control us is because we tell them that they can. We give them the consent. We believe in it. We want to make as much money as we can. Not me. I walked away from that. Now I try to live on as little money as possible. I do. I make everything I can. I fix everything I can. Somehow I messed up and I got focus privilege. And I somehow in life, I just met the right people and born in the right family or something, and it allowed me to focus in on the problems. And so I'm a root cause problem person. Everything I want to look for the root cause of the problem. And I'm not going to judge people that don't have focus privilege, but we need to change the environment of the world so more people have the ability to focus on what actually matters, the root cause of these problems, instead of elevating different psychopaths to be in control of everything. Bail in is the opposite of bail out. Research bail in. Thank you, Ellen. I will do so. No, and we shouldn't be bailing out no banks. That's actually when I walked away from Obama's, when they wanted to bail out the banks. What the hell are you bailing banks out for? What? How the hell does that make any sense? And that should have been the first clue to everybody that because he went and met with Bush and McCain during that time, was running, went in there, was against the banker bailouts, went in, came out, we gotta do the banker bailouts. To me, that was an indicator that things aren't exactly how they appear in Washington. He didn't met the aliens. They said, hey, Obama, here, Barack, I want to let you meet one of my friends, Bush. Big gray alien or something, the one that met Eisenhower, the big gray head, like, listen, we run this thing, not you. And it was like ESP, and so Barack was like, oh, damn, that was it. All right, would you need some bailouts? Okay, I don't know. We have a new maker. We have a new maker space near me. What is a maker space? A place where they have lots of tools, tables. Oh, yeah, like DIY type stuff, right? Stuff to repair stuff. I'm excited. And Deborah, that's what we have to do. When my washing machine breaks, I fix it. When my hot water heater breaks, I look on YouTube and I see if I can figure out how to fix it, and I fix it because it makes sense. Or if I hire someone, I'm not going to call Sears. I'm going to call somebody local who can fix it. The smallest one in the book, the one just so poor. Look, when you go to open your phone book, you classify. They still got phone books. Look at the smallest one you can find. Low smallest ad in the back of your newspaper, whatever it is. Don't go for the big one. Don't go for the one that didn't have the money. They had to call it AAA hot water heater service. A1 hot water heater service. You want the people who have the least amount of money. That's who you want to help. That's who you want to give your business to when you need, and it needs to be local. That's growth mindset. Fixed mindset is necessary in self-limiting perspectives in life. Growth mindset sees failures and challenges. Yes, it does, Jeannie, and we're not growing. We are not growing. We're not growing because we don't have probably the fungi in our brains that was there when we began growing. When we started off this little voyage in evolving. We need to go back to growing. I'm one that believes that we stopped evolving. I do. I think that we stopped evolving, and I think we need to go back to evolving. I think we gave up on it, and we shouldn't have. I think that we forgot what it means to be human beings. We became these little evil, greedy bastards for money. I think that they took survival and they put it in money and monetary systems. So now we fight each other and we try to make our kids better than everybody else's kids. And to me, that's psychopathic. Why don't you love everybody else's kids? Why do you want, your kids, because you got a little more money, you could send them to a better school. Why do you want them to be a better? We shouldn't have betters. Nobody's better. And I think if we can step back and we can actually look at our own egos and look at the wretchedness in our own faces, we got so much work to do. We don't have time to look at anybody else. And I personally, I don't have time. I told somebody the other day, I have no time to make you anything. You are perfect just the way you are. Your environment, your experiences, and all the data that you have access to have made you perfect. It's up to you if you want to become a little better. But you were nurtured in a certain way, and nature did what it's supposed to do. And everybody's exactly who they're supposed to be except you. That's how I see it. Everybody's exactly how they're supposed to be. Except me. I'm the one that I need to work on. And just stay in your own mirror. Try to get better at being a better you. Try to help the environments that help other people, but don't force other people. Don't try to rob other people. That's just the colonizer mindset. That's the same damn thing. Yelling and screaming, oh, we were colonizing, but that's the same damn thing. You're trying to steal what somebody else has. You're trying to fix your problems in somebody else's mirror. Pull yourself up. Pull yourself up. And not like the whole Republican side where you got to go do everything. No. Pull you up. Pull you up. Be the change in the world that you want to see. So yeah, I'm all good with microdosing. I'm all good with psilocybin, Paul Stamens, fungi. Not because I'm smart, not because I know any of the science. It's just because this is what we've always done. We've been eating these things since we were knee-high to a marsupial. Natural is drinking water. Natural is anything else. Although I won't say go out and do it. I think you need to know what you're doing. I think we probably got that stuff in doses. I don't think we got it in like massive. I don't think we ate the whole garden full of it. You know, talk to somebody, and don't do it in a country that's illegal. So I'm not gonna say go break no laws. I'm not gonna say that. I have no respect for the laws. I think you should respect the law. I have no respect for the laws. The laws are evil because the people who wrote them are evil. The people who wrote them were trying to make industries out of problems. They weren't trying to solve problems. Laws are there because you're kicking the can down the road. You're using violence to force people. Laws are just bullying. It's like there's like the whole anti-bullying thing. We don't like bullies. We don't like bullies. Bullies are bad. Bullies are bad. Meanwhile, you're writing laws and you got a DHS, an FBI, a CIA, a police state, and you're telling me you don't like bullies. You got people with guns, automatic assault rifles, and SWAT tanks. And you're telling me that you bullies are bad? It's that lack of focus, Jack. That's what it is. These people voting for these politicians, they don't seem to get it. They can't focus. Like, oh, we need to stop the bullies. And you got a Republican and Democrat sticker on your truck. Like, oh, come on now. You got to be kidding me. We don't think clearly. Probably got to start doing a little micro dosing. There's the legal system and there's the ethical system. Ooh, Deborah, go on, slam it in. Slam it in. And the legal system needs less support, needs less help from you. It all is about ethics and morals. It's all about empathy, love, and compassion. Not being indifferent to anybody because your leader says so. Because they want to steal something from it. Or they want to keep you poor and in conflict, or keep you impoverished and in abuse, and keep rape around because they make a lot of money on rape being there. They got something to talk about as a politician. I'm against that. Keeping war around because conflict is good for getting cheap minerals from poor people who don't have militaries. So sick of it. And they look the other way in schools. And they look the other way in schools. I'm sorry, Jamie, I don't know where we're going with that one. Try not to pay taxes. You'll see bully. Yeah, you will. The IRS don't play. Y'all, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say don't pay your taxes. I'm not. If you're not going to pay your taxes, you need to be Brother John with a cannon. Because the IRS, they got a SWAT team. It will be visiting you. You got how many people in Hollywood tried that? People in Hollywood with hundreds of millions of dollars tried that. IRS don't care nothing about your $100 million. They gonna come for that butt. They gonna come for that tail. Sadly, the mothers beat the fathers and the kids too. Physically, verbally, and psychologically. Yes, they do. The mothers do, and so do the fathers do. We live in a time of massive abuse. People can't focus. Maybe that's why some of the abusive people in these marriages, they can't focus on love. Because they're so spread apart. They're so lost in everything, the apocalyptic craziness that's going on. What will that do for marriage? Like, we're in a divorce apocalypse. Everybody's getting divorced. Nobody can stay together. Maybe because nobody can focus. When bullying actually happens, they all look the other way. No one's actually does anything to stop it. They do, Jamie. That's a scary thing. That reminds me of stories used to tell about the cities where people are walking around. Some woman's getting attacked in the alleyway by a gang and everybody's scared to do anything about it. That's not me. I'm not dead. I'm not the one. I was not born that way. Like I said, we were not a call the police family. We got to beat the hell out you. That's what we got to do, family. You came in our family, you were abusing some of our women. We explained to you, hey, listen, brother, that's not how we get down. I'm walking by, I see 4 or 5 people jumping on somebody in the alleyway. It's time to bring it out. It's time. Hey, we're all gonna die. When you wave energy, you're not really worried about not acting. You're worried about not acting. You do what you got to do. You don't worry about the government. You don't worry about what's going to happen to you. We exist because we do good. Every little bit of good is good. you know? And that's the thing, you be the answer. You be the one. And you'd be surprised who's gonna jump in there with you like, yeah, what you're saying makes some sense. We need to change this world. This world is going in the wrong direction. And by one not doing anything, nothing happens. Watch the movie Ants. Ants will help you. They had a king and queen in Ant too. And Ants was a good Disney movie, but that was another like walking this idea about betters and we're supposed to have kings and queens. But the good point in the movie, which is there's a lot more of us than it is of them. We need to focus and evolve and go back to moving forward. Anyways, Drew, I gotta get going. I'm down with the psychedelics. Y'all have a wonderful day. I am out. Bye-bye.